what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? We are live at 5 right here on the Undisputed Network. All right, you know how we do it, y'all. We're just gonna start sharing this video with our family and friends to let them know that we are on the air. What's up, everybody? This is your host, Andre Jaho, right here, live at 5, right here on the Undisputed Network. We are streaming live to YouTube and Facebook. All right, so as normal, we will be sharing this content, this video with our friends. All right, and then once I share, then we will definitely get into today's video. Okay, guys? So let me get my live feed together. And then we can go about our business. Hope everybody's having a great day. Okay, guys. So hope everybody's having a great day today. Just gotta share the link as normal. Then we can get into this episode. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about grief and loss, all right? Talking about what it means to lose someone and the aftermath, the effects of that. It's not easy when you lose somebody. So that's definitely something that I want to talk about today. So we will be talking about that today, ladies and gentlemen. Thought I had a lower third here. Oh, I guess not. Okay. Hope everybody had a great day, y'all. I rested. Had the rest for, being at work last night. But yeah, I just hope everybody had is having a great day so far. And I think this is a topic that we all can attest to. I think this is something that we all can get on board with, you know what I'm saying? So just sharing this real quick, and then we're gonna get right into the video. All right, one more person. All right, we have shared our broadcast with those that we deem necessary to share it with. And now we're going to get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about grief and loss, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see. Grief and loss, ladies and gentlemen. Grief and loss is something about when you lose somebody. I'm going to go back to the pandemic. And I'm going to go back further than that, but we're going to start there because there's been a lot of great loss in my life. Okay? There's been a lot of great loss in my life, ladies and gentlemen, especially during the pandemic. And I'm going to name some names. I'm going to name some names of some people, very important people in my life, very influential in my life, okay, that have passed on during the pandemic. First person that comes to mind is Mother Sheila Patton. Mother Sheila Patton was a church mother at Christian Life Center Church in Amityville, Long Island, and she passed on. And I was here. I was down south in Memphis when it happened. Was not able to attend the funeral. Um, did happen during the pandemic. A lot of things was on shutdown, but that was a great loss. Joaquin Clark, a great loss. My high school teacher and a great friend. Mr. Clark, Joaquin Clark, was the man that walked me down the aisle when I walked me to the altar when I got saved, when I gave my life to Christ. Okay, so very influential man. He used to come in the classroom. He had a boombox, a radio, and he would play gospel music all day long in the classroom, and that really got me in the gospel. And there was a choir that he was a part of that they had some amazing songs, and just very instrumental in my love of gospel music. And he was just a great guy, a great friend, always looked out for me, very influential in my life growing up. He passed on. That's a great loss. One of the most recent losses is my neighbor, Mr. Reggie. Reginald Crenshaw, God rest his soul. Mr. Reggie was my next door neighbor, and I grew up with him. First man to ever give me a job. I remember it like it was yesterday. He was paying me $3 an hour to help him do yard work. Come and do yard work, help him clean his garage. And I would be out there with him all day. And we would work for about at least 3 to 4 days straight and pay me $3 an hour. But when it was all said and done, at the end of when it was payday, because he wouldn't pay me per day. He would, I would work a few days. I guess he wanted to motivate me to come back, And when I finished the work week, it wouldn't be a full week, but by the time it was all said and done, I have about $80, almost $90. And that being 14 or 15 at the time, that was a lot. That was good money. You know what I'm saying? Just to go next door, walk next door, and didn't have to commute or anything. I just remember those times. You know what I'm saying? He was very influential in my life. He was an advocate for education, and he always looked out for me. And he was one of the people that my parents trusted. My mother didn't let me go out many places as far as going to be at someone's house, but I could go to Mr. Reggie's house. He was literally right next door, and I could go right next door to his house and be there all day long, and my mother knew I was safe, and I miss him. When I found out he passed, that was tough. You know what I'm saying? That was really tough. That was really tough. He's passed recently. That was really tough, y'all. I will say that I reconnected with his daughter. She had contacted me and let me know. I remember I was at the doctor's office with the woman that I was dating at the time. We were in the ER. She was having some issues, and I was there with her, supporting her. While she was being treated for her, she had hurt her foot or something, and she needed to be seen. So I'm there at the ER, and I'm hearing about this loss, and it was like, wow. I cried right there. I cried right there. Hey Christina, if you're watching, how you doing? Just here talking about grief and loss. Something that I think we all can attest to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was just a great loss. There's so many great men that have passed on. It's fitting that you're on, Christina, viewing this video, because your father is someone that I was going to mention, a great man, and we lost him during the pandemic. And it's certain men you look at and you're like, man, this person's gonna be here forever. You can't imagine them passing. And your father, brother Eddie Corker, was one of those men, influential in my life. It's just so cool. This guy was so cool. Every time I came to your house, Christina, um, every time, seeing him at church, he was just so cool. I remember one thing I can always remember about your dad. He had the man cave outside in the garage. It was, I was like, man, I want one of these when I grow up, you know. And he would drive. He'd have his arm sticking out the window. His arm draped over the door, and he's driving with one hand. And I was like, man, when I drive, I'm gonna be driving like that. And even till this day, whenever I drive, if my arm goes out that window, if my window's all the way down, y'all, and I put my arm out that window, I'm thinking about Eddie Corker, literally. Like it's automatic. It's the Eddie Corker. Arms out the window. I'm driving, one hand, thinking about that man. Strong man. He was muscular too. He was built. You know what I'm saying? He was cut. He was ripped. You know what I'm saying? Just a strong man. You know what I'm saying? Had his daughters around him, his wife, Mother Hetty Corker. Just a strong man. You know what I'm saying? We go back to men that I grew up with in the church. Brother Larry Clark, another one, strong man that you see fixing things in the church, and just that powerful male figure. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when he passed. I think he had. I think he had passed cancer, and I remember how he looked. In his last days. I remember visiting him at the hospital, with JD and JR Mack. Remember visiting him and just seeing how the cancer had just ate up his body, and he had shriveled up, and it was like, wow, that was like a wake up call. That was the first time I ever saw someone close to me that you always see so strong, just dwindle down to nothing. And it was tough, you know what I'm saying? And, I know my dad was sick at the time, and my mother had already passed, and, it was tough, you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, loss is not something you can ever, you can never just be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Death is not something you can ever be prepared for. You understand? And it still hurts, you know what I'm saying? When we lose these giants in our life, you know what I'm saying? Like my upbringing, being adopted, and um, the upbringing that I had, I don't know my birth family, but I'm okay with that. I'm cool, you know what I'm saying? Because the life that I had was so amazing, y'all. It was amazing. I had an amazing life. Um, People to this day like you, Christina, JD, you know what I'm saying? You guys have been so influential, you know what I'm saying, in my life, that it's like, you know what I'm saying, like you guys have been just very influential in my life. Um, and you guys are still in my life. Naomi Pryor is still here. She just celebrated her birthday, but you guys are just influential in my life, you know what I'm saying? And you still in my life. I still know you, you know what I'm saying? I have so many memories from Open Heart, Church Day Open Heart, and, lifelong people that are family to me, you know what I'm saying? Being adopted, I look at family different than normal people would, you know what I'm saying? I have a different outlook on family. Um, since I don't know my actual blood family, anybody that's been in my life, my whole life, you are my family. Christina, maybe I've never said this to you, but you're a sister to me. You are family. You are a sister to me. Your mother is a mother to me. You know what I'm saying? Kim, you guys are family to me. Your daughters are like my nieces. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. And if I haven't said it before, I'm saying it now. I love you guys. We may not talk every day. Life has, I've been through so much. I've been through a lot in life, you know what I'm saying? Married multiple times, and, just, still trying to survive, you know what I'm saying? Trying to find my way, you know what I'm saying? But you guys are family, and I love y'all, and I will forever love you guys as family, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not blood, but, Alfred Ajaho is not my blood, but he's my dad. Naomi Ajaho, not my blood, but she's my mama. That's my mom. So just like, they adopted me, you know what I'm saying? I've been adopted into one of the biggest families in the world. That's what I believe, you know what I'm saying? That's my thought. That's my process. That's how I feel. So yeah, I love y'all. Y'all forever in my heart. I will um, always remember you guys, and you guys will always be in my heart. I'll always remember the time, your mother's house is always open, home was always open. You know what I'm saying? You guys have always been there for me and through everything. You know what I'm saying? And I just love y'all from the heart. So, loss is it's just hard. You know what I'm saying? When we lose someone, it's hard. It's not something that ever gets easy. It does not get easy. It gets sometimes it gets harder. Sometimes it gets easier to accept it, but it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? I was looking at my mother's picture. Yeah, I think it was yesterday morning. I'm laying there on my couch, and I got the picture in there, and I'm looking at her picture, and I have a picture of her, I have a picture of my children, and then I have another picture of me and my future, my present love. um, just have the picture there. I'm looking at it. It's like have it in order: my past, present, and future. And I'm looking at my mama and just wishing she was here right now. Sometimes we go through things in life and you just wish, I just wish that my mother was here. I wish my dad was here. Just based on what we're going through. Like, man, if they were just here right now, maybe I would just feel a little better. Maybe I could just have a little more push, to go on. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we still have to live our life. Mr. Reggie told me one thing when my mother passed. He said, "Hey," he said, "I want to encourage you that God loans people to us. We don't belong to each other. We are loaned to one another." So he just encouraged me and let me know that my mother was not ever supposed to be mine forever. God loaned her to me, and she was very instrumental in my life. Being adopted, they put me in, allowing me to go to church with my dad, shaped my life to who I am today, and they put me in private school, New Greater Bethel Ministries. You know what I'm saying? All right, Christina, I love you. Enjoy your time. Um, you know what I'm saying? They put me in private school, and that shaped me to be into getting into media. Because if I didn't go to that school, who knows if I would have gotten to media the way that I am now. You know what I'm saying? So just the fact that they put me on like that, it was a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It was a blessing, and it got me to where I am today. You know what I'm saying? I have so much respect and love for people like Reginald Wooten. God bless you, man. Reggie Wooten, Brother Wooten, man. This guy was the media director at New Greater Bethel at the time. Him and Thomas Kenny, you know, media directors, and they gave me a chance. They let me get on the camera and let me do training at the big gospel tent in Queens during live service, actual service. It wasn't really practice. It was actual recording because they filmed every service for TV and for video production. And that's how I learned. So I learned in the trenches, and I just thank God for these people. They're still here. Thank God for them. And that's family to me too. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about, I also want to talk about divorce. I want to talk about relationships when you are in a relationship, and how when you break up with someone, whether it's a divorce or a breakup, how that feels like death also. It does. Divorce feels like death, y'all. I'm totally serious. Now, I will say, my children's mother, I never really felt like that was a death because I still talk to them. I still have access to them. May not live there with them on a regular basis, but I don't feel like that's a death. But when I got married the second time to Marissa, that felt like a death, y'all. Like we had pets, we had animals together. Two cats, um, cat Sandy and cat McCavity. And I love those cats. I didn't like cats at first until I got these cats being in that relationship with her. And when we went through our divorce and I lost those cats, that was that hard. It felt like I lost my. It felt like I lost kids. You know what I'm saying? Because those animals are so loyal. For those of you that have animals, like animals are so loyal. If you love an animal right, that animal will be loyal to you till death, even in your grave. Um, those animals will love you. You understand what I'm saying? So I just love cats now. I be looking at cat videos all the time, just looking at little kittens. I'm like, I want a kitten so bad, But don't really want the responsibility, but they're so cute. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, divorce is like a death because you spend your life with somebody, you spend all this time with somebody, and then all of a sudden it's over. And sometimes it's not even all of a sudden. Sometimes it's like the relationship is over, but you're just holding on because you're trying to be optimistic. You're trying to, you know, you're trying to feel like, okay, let me do the right thing. Let me fight for this. You know what I'm saying? Let me not just give up. But it's tearing you down. It's breaking you down. You know what I'm saying? But then, and it's like, you should get out of it, but you just keep on staying there and enduring the mess, enduring the garbage, you know what I'm saying, the abuse, you know what I'm saying, physical, mental, verbal, you know what I'm saying, emotional, financial, you know what I'm saying. You're just dealing with all of this and you're like, I should not be here, but let me not give up still. And then you're like, I have to get out of this. It's like you come up with an exit strategy. Like I had a whole exit strategy, y'all. When I was dealing with her, when I was dealing with Marissa, I had a whole exit strategy. Like I gotta get the heck away from this woman. Okay, I gotta get away from her because this is not it. you know. But I finally left when it was the last straw, and God has freed me from that, and I had every right to leave based on the circumstances, which I don't need to get into right now because that's not what this show is about. But I was in all right to leave, and I did, and it felt like death. Something I had to mourn, I had to grieve that because we spent every moment together, every moment, everything we did everything together, everything. Okay, so grieving and loss isn't just when someone dies, but you can have a best friend and y'all fall out to the point where it's almost like there's no going back. Maybe they betrayed you in a way that you just can't go back. You can never be their friend again. It happens, y'all, right? Like it happens. Like I could never ever go back to this person again. I could never be their friend again. And then you grieve. You have to grieve that friendship because, perhaps your friendship was so you were so entwined with each other that uh, it's like, man, this is my best friend in the whole world. We do everything together, every single thing together. We go out, we do this, we do that. We break bread together. You know what I'm saying? We get in trouble together. We laugh, we cry together. They know all my secrets, and then they betray you. And then it's like you have to grieve that. That's a grieving process. They're alive and well, but you have to grieve it. It's tough, y'all. It's really tough. You know. So I've told this story before, and I'll say it again. My sister and I kind of didn't really see eye to eye. When I was married to Marissa, she tried to put my sister against me and kind of tried to get my sister involved in our marriage. And at the time, my sister and I weren't that close. We used to be close when I was younger, when I was a child. My sister is someone that I hold to great esteem. Someone in my life that, growing up, she was very influential in my life. As I was growing up, I spent a lot of my time with her. Parents were older, so they didn't really take me out a lot, but I was able to experience going out and, going to the movies and going on Jamaica Avenue and going to Margarita's Pizza. And I remember all those things, from my sister. My sister um, was the one that took me out to do those things. And, and then her and her long time love, uh, Henry Gene Jenkins, God rest his soul. That was the first time I saw a man pursuing a woman as a teenager, as a child. Actually, as a child. I was a child. I was probably 10 or 11 maybe at the time, but 10, 11, or 12. I might have been maybe younger than that, but I just remember him being, when he first came around, and he would pick her up, and she would bring me with them. They would go out to go hang out on Jamaica Avenue, and she would bring me with her. She didn't have to bring me with her. Well, I don't know if she had to. Maybe my mother told her to. I don't remember, the details. I was just a kid. But anyway, I know I went, and I was in the back seat. They'd be playing Boys to Men, you know. What I'm saying? They'd be playing Boys to Men, and just those times. I just remember those times and cherish those times. But I say that to say, my sister and I we weren't really on good terms in my adult years. We didn't see eye to eye, and just weren't as close. But I realized that no matter what we're going through, if my sister were to pass away right now, it wouldn't even matter what we're beefing about. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I try to tell people. Like, whatever you're going through with a family member, if you're going through something with a family member, what I'm saying? It's like, it's not worth it to be fighting and fussing and fighting with family. Because if they pass away right now, is it really gonna matter what happened? I don't care what they did. Is it really gonna matter? They're gone. Once they're gone, then it's like, does it matter? It doesn't. So I kind of have that attitude, now. Like, whatever we're beefing about, whatever we disagreed on, it doesn't matter anymore. Because if she passes away, like when I heard that Jean passed away, I was like, wow, that was like, oh man, that hit hard. That was like a wake up call. Like, man, this guy's gone. I didn't even know he passed away, because I wasn't connected with her on social media. Wasn't talking to her for a good amount of time, some months that we weren't in communication. So I had no idea. It may have been almost a year that we had talked. And I go on Facebook to um, go on her Facebook page, and I see that he passed, and I was like, dang. I'm so sorry. I had to call her. I had to call her right then and there when I found out, and try to reconcile. And we did. We had a long conversation, and I apologized, for anything that I may have done, and just let her know I love her. Had to let her know, because she, when you got family, you gotta tell them you love them. You do love them. Let them know, because when they're gone, to tell a dead body that you love them, it's not really effective. Maybe their spirit feels it, but they have the saying, give a person their flowers when they while they can still smell them. So yeah, give people their flowers while they can still smell them. That's what I say. So yeah, as I said, relationships, loss. It goes both. It goes. You can talk about grieving family when you're feuding with family, with friends. You lose a relationship, or just someone passes on. Grief is it comes in so many different shapes and sizes. My mother's loss. Losing my mother was one of the greatest losses of my life. A great loss to me. You know what I'm saying? I miss my mother so much. You know what I'm saying? That was a great, great, great loss to me. You understand what I'm saying? Just so, it was a great loss, y'all. Um, I just remember, she had been sick for a while, and it didn't take long, but she had been sick. I remember one night she was rushed to the hospital, but then she came back. And then this second time she was, not feeling well. I was in the room with her, just, trying to comfort her. And then she had to go to the hospital. And my brother Alan and Sandy, they went, and they went with her to the ER. And my godmother came over because I think my nieces and nephews were at the house, and my godmother had just came to the house to be with us. And my brother came back and he came upstairs to my room, and he came in the room and he said, he just looked at me and gave me a hug, and he said, Ma's gone. She's gone. And he gave me a hug, and my whole world shattered before my eyes. My whole world, it was like I had been hit with a ton of bricks. I just took a ton of bricks and said, here. And it was like the weight of all of that was on me. It was in my hands. It was almost like they threw it at me and I just like collapsed. And I cried and I cried. And I was just in disbelief. He told me that she was gone. The last image I have is them stretching her out on the stretcher, and it was cold. I remember it was winter, it was cold, and they had wrapped her in a blanket and stretchered her out, and I watched them go in the ambulance, and I watched the ambulance drive off, and I looked out the door and just watched it drive off, and that was the last time that I saw my mama. You know what I'm saying? That was the last time I saw my mama. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, yeah, that was the last time I saw her. And that was tough. Every holiday I cried. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, all of the Easter, all of the major holidays that I know family would get together. I cried. Uh, with my children, when it was holiday time and we would have the holidays, I would cry because I would think about my mama. Because I'm used to family gatherings. Every Sunday, Sundays were Sunday dinners was at my house. Like the traditional black family Sunday dinner that families have. And you may have a family that you may have a aunt or uncle's house that you go to every Sunday for family dinner. That was my house. So I'm just used to that. And when my mother died, it all stopped just like that. Like it was done. No more family dinners. Everybody started scattering and going their different ways, and that was a loss too. We had lost our mother, the matriarch of the family, the one that was the glue. You know what I'm saying? We lost her, and when we lost her, it's like everybody just fell off. So I lost, when losing my mother, I lost my family too, because there was no more family gatherings. The next time that I saw all my family in one place, the next time was when my godmother, which was the second matriarch of the family, which was my mother's sister. She's my godmother, my aunt, but my godmother, Celestine Harmon, God rest her soul. When she passed, that was the next time that we all got together for her funeral. And yeah, it sucks when we only get together for a funeral. You know, you'll have more people come to a funeral than will even come to a wedding, to be honest. But I don't like that. I don't like that we gather around when someone dies and then we have all these nice things to say about them when they're dead. How about we have some things to say about them while they're alive? How about we honor the living? I'm very much for honoring the living. Anybody in my life, my mindset now, if you are an inspiration in my life, if you're someone influential in my life, I'm going to honor you while you're alive. I'm going to give you your flowers while you're alive, because it's, when you're gone, you're gone. You know what I'm saying? I can't hug you and I can't tell you, I could tell you I love you, but you ain't going to hear me. You're gone. What good is it going to do you if I tell you I love you in your casket? I want you to hear that I love you, and I'm not going to say I'm telling you I love you so you can say it back. You don't have to say it back. I don't tell people I love them for them to say it back. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about that. I'm not saying it. I don't want you to have to say it back. It's not about that. You don't have to say it back. I could care less if you say it back. You understand what I'm saying? What I care about is just letting. I want to make sure I let you know, hey, I love you. I just want to let you know that I love you and you mean so much to me, and I just have to let you know this because life is short and tomorrow's not promised. You understand what I'm saying? Tomorrow's not promised to us. You don't know when, the day nor the hour. When Christ is coming back, you don't know when you're going to die. So I just want us to love our people. You know what I'm saying? Love your family. Stop arguing with your family. Stop fighting with your family. Love on your family because family is everything. Whatever you're fighting about, it's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Because just consider this. If that person you're having a quarrel with, if they were to pass right now, how would you feel? Would you be relieved? Would you be happy? Or would you be sad? If you be sad, if you feel like you hate them right now, but if they died in the next 5 minutes, depending on how you're gonna feel about their death, if you're gonna be more sad that they're gone, then this is the time to squash that beef. You can be the bigger person. You can be the bigger person. Because whatever you're fighting about, once they're gone, it doesn't matter. Because they're gone. That's just how I look at it. That's my thoughts on that, and I'm gonna continue with that thought process. Okay. But yeah, my mother's death. That was tough. As I said, that was a tough one. It was it's something I still deal with every day, and I'm at the point in my life now where I don't want to have regrets, y'all. I do not want to have regrets. I want to live my life to the fullest. I want to love and I want to be loved. You know what I'm saying? I want to, be married and marry the woman of my dreams. And I want to love her and cherish her and be there for her and create memories, long lasting memories. And, I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying? I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Bryant, man? We're talking about death and loss. I know you lost your parents, and I know it's not easy for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I was there. And Brian, man, you've been a friend, man. You guys, Brian Jones is one of my best friends. You know, over 25 years of friendship. Um, he was there for me when my mom passed. He came to the wake and showed his support. He always came to my house, and my mother knew him. He knew my mom. We would wrestle, backyard wrestling in the backyard. So he came to my house. He was very acquainted with my parents, and my mother, no nonsense, very acquainted. You know what I'm saying? I knew his mom, and acquainted with her and his dad, and when they passed, I was there for him, and that's you need friends like that will come and support you. That's how who your friends are. Versus just a classmate or just an associate. You know what I'm saying? When someone will come and support you. You know what I'm saying? In a time of great loss. And we supported each other in those times of great loss. So I love you, Brian, man. I just want to let you know that I'm just in a place in life right now where I got to give people their flowers while they're alive. You know what I'm saying? We ain't never had no major beef. You know what I'm saying? We've been friends the whole time. You know what I'm saying? I love you, man. I really appreciate your friendship, yo. I really appreciate your friendship, man. Just want to say that publicly. I've told you that before, but just want to say it again. And I value the time that you hold for me, man. When especially when I was going through with Marissa, you was giving me advice and advice I didn't listen to. But I just appreciate you, man. I just wanted to let you know that, and I encourage you, everybody out there, if there's someone, there's a friend or family member that appreciate, tell them why they're here. Because when they're gone, like the appreciation doesn't hit the same way. They're not gonna feel it. You know what I'm saying? Let them feel that while they're alive. Okay. Yeah, so I mean that's really it. That's really what I want to talk about concerning death and loss and grieving. You know what I'm saying? This is a powerful topic. This is something we could talk about forever, but like I said, I'm at a point now where life is too short and I don't have time to play games. I don't have time. I've spent a lot of time in relationships that did not serve me, but I think every relationship does serve you, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. Even if it's bad, it's a lesson. You know what I'm saying? So I have my lessons, and just trying to do it right now. Just trying to get it right, and I want to get it right and live my life with the woman that I love and be happy and love her and you know be with her for the rest of my life, and that's just where I'm at. So I encourage you also, ladies and gentlemen, if there's someone out there that you want to be with, pursue that person, pursue them, and be consistent and shoot your shot, and if it's you know, pursue them and love them, and if you're supposed to be together, God's gonna allow it. God will give you the desires of your heart. So yeah, that's really all I got, y'all. I thank y'all so much for joining me for this episode of Live at 5. We didn't really talk politics today. The government is still shut down, so I'll have something for you tomorrow, an update concerning that. I will say sorry, excuse me. I will say that the last thing I heard is Donald Trump is considering reopening. He needs that he's considering giving the Democrats what they're asking for, but he said that the government needs to reopen first. So that's the last thing that I saw. But we'll get into those details on tomorrow. I just felt this pull in my spirit that I needed to talk about grief and loss. I was watching a show, an amazing show called Family Business. Carl Weber's Family Business. Right now I'm watching it on Netflix. Been watching that, binge watching that, and I started watching it a couple years ago, but then I fell off. So I just went back from the very beginning and just watched it again. I think I had watched maybe 2 seasons last time. This time I watched everything over from scratch just to replay it fresh in my mind, and I finished it. So now we're up to season 5, but season 5 is on BET Plus. But anyway, great show. A lot of death in the show. One of the characters, Sasha, if you watch the show, her name is Sasha, was killed, and during that funeral, I started crying because it was like the love that these actors, man, they can act. The love, the emotion in her death, you know what I'm saying? Like the love that they were showing, it pulled on my heart, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I decided to talk about grief and loss today. Wasn't gonna talk about this today, but that's just why I was led to talk about today. All right. So yeah, if you love someone you love, hey, don't have regrets. Tell them you love them. Tell your family members you love them. If your mother is still here, if your parents are still here, cherish them. Tell them you love them every day. You know what I'm saying? Give them their flowers while they can still smell them, not at their funeral, please. Let's stop making that a normal thing, telling people how much we love them, crying at their gravesite. Let's tell them how much we love them in person. Cry, um, show the emotion while they're here so they can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Thank them. Say, hey, you've been there for me in my life, and my life wouldn't be where it is without you, and I love you, and I thank you so much. And if a tear sheds, then hey, that's okay. Let them see your tears. Sometimes they say don't let people see your tears, but no, you can let people see your tears when they are good tears. When they are emotional, when you're showing like respect and homage, and you're like, yes, I just want to thank you so much, and you start crying because they're tears of joy. Those tears are the tears that I believe you should be shedding, what I'm saying, with your loved ones, and let them feel it. Y'all have that moment together, okay? You know what I'm saying? And That's all I got for y'all. So thank y'all so much for taking this time to listen to me talk. Um, One thing here on the Undisputed Network, we're going to talk about these type of topics, and we will talk about this again. We will have people on. We've had shows where we talked about it. Um, Facebook has something where they're deleting live streams and after a certain amount of time. So live streams like this will not stay on the platform. I will actually be able to upload this, but this is on my YouTube account, which will be there. So if you want to watch the replay, it'll be on the Facebook page for a good while, but after a certain while, it will delete, but it'll be on our YouTube channel at the Undisputed Network. All right, guys? But we're always going to talk about this. We're going to have another discussion, and we'll have a discussion with someone that has great loss. There's someone I'm trying to get on, someone that has lost her son, and I want to get her on. So I'm going to try to get this young lady on so we can talk about that. And there's plenty of people that I've lost. I had a friend, Sharmonda, lost her husband. You know what I'm saying? She came on the show and talked about it. So, we have people that have lost loved ones, and we're going to have them on to give their testimony, to tell their story. Okay? So we can have a dialogue about that. All right? All right, guys. So that's it. That's all I got. Love you guys, and thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Please share this video with your family and friends. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time that we are live or every time that we do post a new video. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you guys, and you have a great rest of your night. All right. You're watching the Undisputed Network's Black News Undisputed. Live at 5. Peace.